Arizona Cardinals 6, Seattle Seahawks 16. We take the L in Lumen Field, and it's really a bummer because we could have put some space between us and the next team in the division, especially in a division like ours, which coming into the week had every team at least 500. So now we have to settle for the tie in the division lead with Seattle and potentially the Rams, depending on how the Sunday night game goes. Now, on the performance, I expected a whole lot better from us, especially coming off a bye. We should have taken our time off to come up with to come into the game with a better game plan. In the end, it was a close game, hardly highly contested, but there were just moments in there which Seattle were able to capitalize on, and we just couldn't. Start off the game, we never even got the running game going. It's something we've been able to do all year, run the ball. We finished the game with like 50 yards, 50 rushing yards. That's just not, that hasn't been the recipe for us all season. The passing game, it was all right, but could be a lot better considering the talent we have. Um, Marvin Harrison Jr. He has to show up. Like he was touted as a generational talent coming into the draft, and yes, we have seen flashes of that, but it's once every 3 games or so. We have to see more consistency from Marvin. McBride, he was sensational. Had a 10 catch, 100 yards, which he's at this point it looks like he's Kyler's favorite target, which I don't mind actually, because a lot of the teams that make it really far into the playoffs, the tight end, they have a good tight end. They usually don't rely on the receiver that as their number one. So I'm fine with that. As Marvin comes along, hopefully he becomes that additional weapon in the passing game alongside McBride. That'll make us a really dangerous offense for other teams to game plan against. Mike Will, the play he made, he needs to get more targets. Michael Wilson, the over the shoulder catch he made was the play of the game for me, and it was clutch. It put us in position to put us in the red zone at 1st and goal, and that was actually the goal line situation we had to kick a field goal in. The first time all season we've had to kick a field goal and goal to go. So Mike Will, they need to get him the ball more. Like I was like, there's no way he's making that play, but guess what? Mike Will made it. He's that guy. Like I really believe if he was the number one, or he's a 1,000-yard guy in my book. That's how I see it. He's just they just have him doing cardio. He actually caught a touchdown, but a flag, a holding from Paris pulled it back. So Mike Will, please, coaches, they need to get him more involved in the offense. Let's see, the defense. I'd say the defense played well. Definitely played well enough for us to win the game. I mean, they only allowed 10 points. The other 6 came from the pick 6, but I will say situationally, there were a couple times where we had the chance to get them off the field, but we just missed the tackle, let Geno slip out, find a guy. There were some screen plays there with Jackson Smith-Njigba, which he was able to pick up chunk yards. But all in all, we kept them away from the end zone, kept them from putting up more points than they could have. Buddha, not his finest game. He just didn't look like himself. He was more like Hindu Baker. We need to see Buddha Baker back again. He missed a couple tackles in the backfield, which could have really helped the defense out. I mean, I know it was rainy and all, but this guy grew up in Washington. Like he's from there. It's not like he's never played in the rain before. Like that was unusual, because Buddha, he is our guy on defense. So him not having, I guess it could be seen as a good thing, or he didn't have his a great game, but our defense still played well. But the defense, they played well enough for us to win the game. Now, Kyler, I won't say he had a horrible game, but it was subpar. If he didn't throw the pick six, it would have been an average game. But like looking at the game between Kyler and Geno and Kyler, they both threw bad interceptions. The thing is, Geno was able to capitalize on moments where Kyler wasn't able to. He was able to make the plays where, in situations where there were must need situations. Kyler, he made great plays, but in those gotta have it moments, he didn't have it. He didn't have it in him today. It was in these divisional matchups, it really has to come down to the quarterback play, and Kyler today was not. Geno played. He was a better quarterback today. And speaking of Geno, I mean, this guy still hasn't written back. When they wrote him off a long time ago, but he just refuses to write back. I mean, the game last week against San Francisco, like they shouldn't have won the game, but Geno made the plays when he needed to make them. This week again, he does his thing. I gotta commend his attitude and his play, because his career did not start off in a decent manner, but he's turned it around for himself. I guess I'm glad to see it for him. Now, speaking of another guy who hasn't written back, Sam Darnold. We face the Vikings next week. They're on a roll right now, but we gotta get back on track. So after, it's gonna be a tough matchup. I know that for sure. And then after that, we play Seattle, this time at home. Chance for us to get our lick back. And yeah, these next 2 weeks and our last 2 weeks, which will be against the Niners and Rams, are our season. These 4 games, between that we have Carolina and New England. These next couple of games are gonna be our season. So we have to do what we have to do. We have to take care of business. We have to get back into the playoffs. So like and subscribe. Hopefully next week this video will be on a more positive note.